I am in constant need of a drug, an addiction in my life. If I don't have something that I'm obsessed with, I slowly begin to lose my mind. I think the baseline of my life, if I'm just living normally, let's say for now as a university student, wake up every day, maybe exercise a little bit, watch YouTube, do work, and then maybe do something fun and then go to sleep. At a baseline, if I do that, I just get extremely depressed and tired and end up feeling miserable. I think it stems, I'm pretty sure, I almost know it stems from trauma, maybe a lack of a lot of things in childhood. And I feel like it has gotten worse over the years. More traumatic events that pass my life, the more I need this addiction to keep me going. And this can be anything. I've tried my best to stay away from drugs. I don't do any. And I've tried to keep healthy addictions like exercise, which has been my main one since grade 5. But when I'm not able to exercise, when it gets taken away from me, from concussions, the vaccine, or I get injured, then my coping mechanism for dealing with my life just, it gets taken away, and then I just go crazy. Now, it doesn't have to be exercise, it could be love or video games. For a long time I was extremely addicted to League of Legends. After I got concussed, I would just play League of Legends because I couldn't really exercise, even though it was still bad. It was probably straining my eyes, worsening my concussion recovery, but I could at least do it. I kept addicted to League for years. I'd play hours and hours a day. And the same thing happened after the vaccine. I went completely, I didn't go crazy, but I got extremely depressed, not being able to exercise. And to cope, I had already quit League previously, but I started playing it again. And in a way, it saved me. I became no longer completely suicidal and homicidal, wanting to kill society, the world, for having wronged me in some way. Now, recently, life has been going pretty well. When school started, I went to that architecture class, and that girl I've been speaking of, I looked into her eyes, like on the second class that we had together one day, and I just briefly, she looked at me, she didn't even smile, and she had a mask on. I could only see her eyes in the darkly lit room as the teacher was giving a lecture, and she cast this, it's almost as if she cast a spell on me. I fell in love. And then from that point, me previously being not in the best state, maybe not completely depressed, but just unhappy, it brought me out of that. And then I pick up good habits because I'm feeling good about myself, in love. I have that drug, my addiction is satiated, and I start doing stuff. I start exercising more, and then I get more of the drug from exercising. I start playing piano and becoming obsessed with it again, like I did in grade 6. Now I have 3 different drugs fueling me, pumping me. But I got so high on those drugs that eventually you're gonna crash. And this pattern has happened many times before. when I feel good in life and I crash. I was training so hard that I injured my shoulder. And then because of that, well, first I injured my forearm, not injured but strained, playing piano, so I had to do less, but that was okay. And then I injured my left shoulder doing push-ups, because I could do one-arm push-ups on my right arm, but not my left. So I was training my left over and over. And then I strained my shoulder, not a terrible injury, but an injury. And then from there, I couldn't exercise. I couldn't really play piano either, because I didn't want to make it worse. And then my life just got worse after that. My high from the drugs wasn't being maintained. And then even the love, it kind of faded, even before things got bad with the texting and all that. But because of that, I just started slowly getting more and more sad and depressed. And, the suicidal thoughts come back. They just never leave. The homicidal thoughts come back. Like, I don't hate my parents or any of my family, but when I'm in this state, it's almost like an instinctual reaction. I have an urge to kill them. It's psychotic. I feel like I'm not living in reality. I should not be feeling this way. I don't logically feel that way towards them. But I guess that's just the way things are when you've been traumatized by them. Not even like anything they do to me. You get traumatized by seeing what they do to each other. Like, it rubs off and then you end up hating them for it. So I guess this is also the third part, the trilogy of my short little infatuation with this girl. In my class with her yesterday, we didn't sit next to each other because for the start of the class, I got there a little bit late and there were already two people sitting next to her. And so I sat in a different spot. And then we have a break after doing a bunch of drawing exercises, and we go to a different building to draw the other building. We did 1 point perspective. And so I go out first, and then she's with a friend. I think one friend that she knew before starting the class. And then we go out, and we take pictures of the building that we're gonna draw. And then she invites me to go in with them, and I say sure. So we go, we all sit together. Don't talk very much. Mostly do work for the whole class. Actually, they're on their phones a lot because they're struggling with the 1 point perspective, wrapping it around their heads. The two girls, but anyways, class ends. The friend of the girl I like leaves, and the girl I like just stays there and stays with me for a little bit. We talk a little bit. I apologize for not specifying. She says it's partly her fault too. It's not to worry about it. And then it all felt too weird. Like, she was being too friendly to me in my mind. Like, I pulled out a book, and then she asked me how long I was going to stay there for after class. I said a few minutes because I was waiting for my mom to come pick me up. And she just sat with me there for a little bit. Like, she has a bus. She has nothing after to go to. In fact, I think she wanted to go to another building for something. But, okay, yeah, so she did that. And then before she left, I asked her, like, I probably shouldn't ask you out, right? or something like that. Maybe I think I said it a little bit better than that, but maybe not. She told me that she thought I meant to hang out as friends. She told me that she really enjoyed talking to me, but didn't see me in a romantic sense. And I tried to force out a small smile, but it probably looked really fake. And I just said, thank you for your honesty. I think I said something about her rejecting me. Like not me criticizing her, but like me confirming that she has rejected me, some, I don't know, dumb shit. But yeah, I asked her that though, just because I wanted closure to make sure. And I think she is just a really nice person. You know, her acting like kindly to me, maybe she likes me a little bit, but whatever. Our relationship just doesn't really change, I think. Interactions will probably still be the same. But where I was going with this was, in my life, and I had forgotten this recently, or at least for this specific occasion, whenever things are going really well, and I feel like they can't really get worse, like my life is good, usually some sort of pretty bad event happens right after. Like the first time I noticed this, I think I was in grade 6. And for the first time, well, at least in the first time in the past few years from that point in my childhood, I was feeling pretty good about myself. I was happy. And I remember I was laying in my parents' bed, I think playing some game on an iPad, and I was thinking to myself, life is pretty good. I don't think there's anything that could really make it not so good right now. Then of course, right after, as I'm thinking that thought, my mom comes in and tells me that my guinea pig died. He wasn't old, but he died of a heat stroke, randomly, just in my yard. I didn't even know he was outside. My mom had apparently put him out there in the sun and left him unattended with no water, and he had a heat stroke and died. Now, grade 6, me was devastated by this, as most kids would be. I didn't cry. An interesting thing, I think, is that I think from experiencing so much emotional withdrawal over my childhood has led me to become sort of emotionless. Like I still feel inside pain and excitement and happiness, but actually expressing it doesn't really come naturally. Like I can count the number of times I've cried in my life since maybe I've been a toddler on one hand, and they've all been more out of rage, like an angry cry, than the sad. Actually, I think I can only think of 2 occasions when I've cried. One in grade 6 out of anger, because it was something my mom said, kept going on about. I don't remember what, but I remember after that incident, I told myself I would always hate her, and remind myself to always hate her for my entire life, which now I don't. I've forgiven her for everything. But in the moment, whatever she did, probably gaslighting me or something, was enough to push me over the edge and cry out of anger. And then I remember one time I cried when I was like I don't know, very young, maybe 6 or something. I just fell and cried. Not very atypical for a child. But where was I going with this? Yes, I am emotionally withdrawn a lot in terms of what I physically display. And then for most of my childhood, all of my childhood, my early teenage years, I didn't really smile like at all. My smile in photos has always been terrible, and my smile in general has always been pretty bad. It doesn't look genuine and real because I've been trying to force it so much that it just never became real until recently. It's a little bit better now. After practicing, whenever I feel happy emotions, intentionally trying to smile. But like if you look at pictures of me when I was younger, it's kind of rare, except for the ones when I'm really, really young, to find me smiling. So, whenever I feel like nothing bad can really happen, something bad really happens. This happened with the guinea pig in grade 6. And then things got pretty good after a while, after I got over that hump. But I remembered it not to let myself get carried away with, oh, life can't become bad. And then again in high school, life was pretty good. I was training, physically fit, pretty happy. Boom, concussion. Number 1. I don't know why, I just passed out with a concussion. And then it happens again. Turns out it's vasovagal syncope. Now, I'm doing pretty bad. And then it takes me a few years, but I recover by university. Again, I'm feeling good about myself. I'm training physically, improving. I'm strong. I can do 1-arm push-ups, a couple of them on each arm. I'm as strong as I've ever been since around grade 9. So that's always been a thing for me. I get these events that happen to me and I feel bad in the future because I regress instead of progress. And I worked so hard just to get back to where I was. So I'd finally surpassed where I was in grade 9 in first year university. Getting really, really strong, happy, and then I make the decision to get a dose of the vaccine. Crippled for 8 months. Can't train for 8 months. Lose my mind for 8 months and become addicted to League of Legends for 8 months. I think the only thing that could truly make me happy at this point would be genuine love. Because that's what I've been lacking, I think. Throughout all my childhood, I've been emotionally detached from my parents, my entire family. Like now, I've forgiven my mother, and I understand my father, I think. But I don't love either of them, and I never have. I've tried to force myself to. I remember hugging my dad, forcing myself to do that even though I didn't feel like it, and just feeling like vomiting. And then I don't love my younger brother either. I don't hate him. Like, as a person, I think he's okay, but I don't love him. So, for now, I think I'm slightly destined to be miserable and go through highs and lows. The thing is, with these lows, though, they always end up coming up eventually. It was this mindset that in early elementary school I was depressed and suicidal, and I always thought, well, if I'm pretty low right now, but life can only get better. And I think that once I'm older, I have a secure job, I can raise a family, only then will I have an opportunity to be happy, because I'll be able to have a wife who hopefully loves me, and children. If I raise them well, do my job, they'll love me too. And yeah, that's my rant on, I just kind of went on about my life for a while.